Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we do a new character every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Nkatu, the Living Mummy, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
I'm Brandon.
Hey guys, Steven, he will either be late or won't be joining us at all because he has other obligations. But we have a lot less to talk about, but we still have quite a bit to talk about this episode. How are the two of you doing? How are you doing today, Brad?
Doing pretty okay.
How about you? How about you, Brandon?
I've been doing good.
That's good. That's good. It's quiet weekend. Not much going on. Kind of nice. I've had a nice weekend. Well, we have some news that we have to talk about. I'm just gonna mention we now know a couple new characters. We know everything about Mephisto, Lord of Temptation, and we will be covering that more on a later episode. And we know everything about Abomination, uh, and there's a lot to talk about on both of these cards. But so we will have to do their own episodes. But I'm excited to see how they change things up. I'm looking forward to putting both of them on the table.
Both are supposedly criminal syndicate.
Yeah, yeah. How? What do you think about that, Brandon? Did we lose
Uh,
Brandon? Oh
no,
no, there
I'm
he is.
here. I did lose the volume, so I'm not sure what we're talking about.
What do you think about Abomination and Mephisto both being criminal syndicate?
I don't care about Mephisto. Abomination, though. I
Okay,
do. I do care about. I don't think Mephisto's bad. I just I'm not sure where he fits per se.
okay, all right. Yeah,
Mephisto,
well,
known for doing crimes.
yeah, I know. I was thinking about that too. Like, hi, I'm a
Sure, he
criminal
doesn't
gang
not
boss.
do criminals. Like I'm sure he's not.
Hi, I'm a criminal gang boss, and this is my collaborator, the Devil. Yeah, it's silly. All right, well, let's move on to tournaments that are coming up. So for the month of October, we don't have a whole lot on the uh, forecast. The only thing is Second Wind coming up on the 19th. That's a huge tournament that I myself and Brad are going to be attending. We will be attending with Michael as well, one of our locals, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. It's going to be fun.
Yep.
I Thank you for the input, Brad. Okay. Then coming up later in November, on the 16th of November, there is a tournament at Lost Legion Games and Comics. That's our local store, and we will be that. I will endeavor to attend this one, Brad. I will do my best to attend this time.
I'll
I say
believe it
that
when I see
because
it.
yeah, I say that because there was a tournament this weekend that I did not attend. But Brad and Brandon will both be talking about that later.
You think?
And on the topic of the BECC, right now we don't know when the next one will be. I believe was did Erie drop out? Is that what occurred?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Erie shop did not they dropped their tournament. So right now we're trying to figure out when the next BECC will be. Uh, and when that occurs, I will have that up on this segment. But until then, we're all holding our breath to see when we
There
can
will
finally.
there'll definitely be a last chance qualifier at Acro Brew Brawl in the spring.
In March. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes. That is right now the next one that we know about. But hopefully there will be one, at least one between now and then. All right, let's move on. Uh let's Oh gosh, what do we do next? Let's talk about games we've played. I have two, but they were on Thursday. So why don't you two talk about the tournament that happened just recently? So, Brad, tell me about this tournament that occurred.
We had a last minute rescheduled tournament, and because no one could come on the regular day and said that they could come on Saturday, so I moved the date. It was Brandon and I and Borka and our friend Aaron, and Brandon played Hellfire Brotherhood. Borka played
Ooh.
Avengers. I played Apocalypse, and Aaron played Shield, which he's been playing for a while.
Yeah,
Uh,
so it sounds like you guys were all trying out different stuff,
yeah,
except for Aaron.
except Aaron, but that's fine.
Yeah.
He still is trying out new stuff in his faction because he's been trying out Namor lately as his leader. Uh, I played
To great
against
effect.
what?
To great effect.
Yeah, I played against Borka first round. Apocalypse versus original Steve Rogers, and I played against Borka on Thursday. Uh, Brandon, what was he playing on Thursday?
Guardians.
Guardians. It was Guardians versus Apocalypse, and that was my
Oh, yeah.
first game of Apocalypse. And I lost that game, but I felt like I had a lot of options with Apocalypse, and like there was something there to unlock. This game made
Okay.
me feel a lot worse about Apocalypse. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah. Um, I just didn't feel like I was really in the game as much as I would like. Even when I lose, I like to like feel like I'm in the game. The score ended up 17-13, which is closer than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was pretty clear early on that it was Borka's game to lose, that he was pretty in control of the game. But he doesn't trust Marvel dice and thought I could turn it around. But even if I dice him, like he's far enough ahead. Because one turn I did have a big turn and did a lot of stuff. But like one turn's not enough. Not when you have like I think at that point he might have had like an 8 point lead. It might have been 7. Like even if I
He was
score
commandingly ahead.
even if I score 6 to his 1, he's still like several points ahead of me.
Yeah.
It was struggle for the cube. Demons downtown, 17 points. And he played Shang-Chi and Namor in his list, and Shang-Chi did so much work. Namor also pretty good, like not as good as Shang-Chi did. Like Shang-Chi was on my demon most of the game, and
Oh,
I dazed him at the very end with Psylocke because he was incinerated, but and then ran away with Psylocke, but like none of that felt good.
mm-hmm.
Apocalypse did pretty well in the game. He's
I mean,
good.
he's a sixth threat model. He's got to at least feel quality on the table.
There was a point that could have kept me in the game where I could have the turn before Psylocke dazed Shang-Chi. I had a flipped magic, and he had 2 cubes on him, but there was a size 3 piece of terrain between us. But I
Mm-hmm.
could have magic hop onto the size 3 terrain and then attack him and with 2 attacks and possibly do the 3 damage I needed to do and pick up those cubes. It was possible. It wasn't likely, but it was possible. And then here comes Namor from downtown to just daze her in 1 charge attack. It might have been
Yeah.
2 attacks, but it didn't matter. Like she was down. She was off the table at that point. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have the chance to like stay in the game and like go another. Well, we did go another round, but like he just took that opportunity off the board, which was, I
Right.
mean, the play he needed to do. But He beat
So
me
so he's playing Steve Rogers 1 now. Interesting.
for this
I mean,
tournament. He did.
Okay, Steve Rogers 1 is good. He's still good. Like he's still got play in this game. Okay, Brandon, what was your first round?
Well, I played Aaron. I played Brotherhood in this game. Hold on.
Who was your leader?
Who do you think?
I'm guessing Mystique.
I did play Mystique.
Yeah.
Magneto's not on my list. I just had Mystique.
Okay.
We
Did you
played.
play Not Deception?
It's in my 10. I never play it in my
Yeah,
5.
I don't think it works.
I don't know of a time when I would actually play that card. I was talking about that after the game. I don't know when I would actually play it. We played 19. We played Legacy Virus. This says Mutant Madmen, but that is not what we played. We played Riots. No, that's what you guys played. Oh, what the heck did we play? We played Extremis. Oh yeah, we played Extremis and Extremis.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
So we played Senators and Riots, um, which is how those should be abbreviated. We played
Yeah.
19. We played
Ni-
19 Threat. Um, he, he played Shield. He played Namor with the Time Gem. Nick Fury. Um, Chosen a Bast. 10, 13. God, who else did he play? Iron Man, 4-point Iron Man,
Oh.
17, and then 2-point Widow.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and I played. Oh God, 19 is Juggernaut, Toad, and then 4 threes. Black Cat, Mystique, Pyro, Blob.
Okay.
I'm very consistent. I know exactly what I play for each team at each list. Um, so that's what I played. I won 16-8 at the end of round 3. Um, I was able to put my pyro attacks into his weak energy defenses. I was able to keep people off of points with Blob when they attacked into Blob. Juggernaut was able to push people off of points. Toad just hid in the corner.
As is what he does.
Which
That's
is kind
that's his
of
job.
Black Cat did the same thing. So
Yeah.
she just rotated between D's. I just kind of like rotated on all the D's because I can go from every character I had could go from D to D like pretty reliably, except for like Blob and Pyro. So Pyro kind of just stayed on the right side, Blob on the left side. Blob had a turn where he was able to use his spender. He was able to use his builder. No, he didn't do it. I was able to use Juggernaut. I left Nick Fury and someone else on 1 damage, and then Blob was able to spend her in explosive force and daze the character he attacked and 2 other characters with the extra damage
Oh
from the
wow.
thunderous splash. And then use the second attack to then just punch Black Widow, who was standing on the home D. Um, so I got a little lucky in that one, but yeah, that's pretty much how that game played out. It was a good game outside of the score. Like it was like the next turn after that, if I don't hit 16, he probably turns a lot around.
Right. Yeah, he has his swing back turn.
Yeah. So
Okay
just
then. Well, let's move on to round 2. Brad, I guess you were against Aaron in round
I
2.
was. I did while Brandon was talking. Remember, because he was talking about Blob. Blob, absolute MVP of round 1. He put out a bunch of conditions as Pestilence and pushed a lot of people off the points, mostly
Okay.
through his damage reduction ability.
Blob is great.
Blob was
The worst
great.
thing that happens. The worst thing that happens if you're playing Blob is you roll a ton of defense dice and you don't get to use your push.
Yeah. Uh, So in round two, I played Aaron. He played Namor Leadership, and I played Apocalypse, and it was 19 points, and I played four Horsemen. So this is my first game where I got all four. It was really hard for me to choose between Psylocke and Archangel for death because I could fit one 4-pointer in, and I ended up going with Archangel just to get more game time with him. I did Magic as Famine. I did Blob as Pestilence again, and then Deadpool as War.
Okay.
We
Okay.
played Mutant Madman and Legacy Virus, so it split up into two flanks. With Magic, I got priority, so Magic grabbed the middle Legacy Virus at the beginning of the game. On my left, I had Deadpool and Apocalypse, and on my right, I had Archangel and Blob. Against So Namor ended up moving at the end of the round. He moved and then charged because it was time Namor. Magic
Cool.
to attack her, and then second round when he went first, he dazed her and then moved over to attack Blob. So he was mostly on Blob's side, Blob and Archangel's side, leaving just 2-point Widow and Steve 3 to fight Apocalypse and Deadpool,
Okay.
while Blob and Archangel fought New Black Panther, the Mystic one, and Nick
Goes in a
Fury.
bass.
Yeah, and Nick Fury Jr. in the grunts
Okay.
on that side. But he grabbed the two outside legacy viruses. And Archangel moved up and attacked Bast and teleported onto his mutant madman and tried to flip it and failed. And Apocalypse dazed Black Widow first turn and got to try to flip and succeeded his mutant madman.
Okay.
Yeah, he got to move. I got to use tokens to teleport him. And then he got an attack on Black Widow that dazed her, and then had enough power to pick up her extract and then flip his point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Apocalypse, man.
Apocalypse is great. And he stood there pretty much the entire game. Deadpool and Black Widow had a slap fight that Deadpool eventually won. He never even flipped to his other side. And Apocalypse beat down Steve 3. On my other side, Archangel went down way too fast.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
Yeah, he did some damage before he left. Like he dazed Chosen a Bast and I think put a little bit of damage on Nick that then he healed with the card, the special shield card.
Right.
And then
Med kit.
Went down.
Shield med kit.
Just went down. And Psylocke wouldn't have, but Psylocke also wouldn't have had that good first turn play, so it's still kind of hard.
Yeah.
And then Blob, it was Blob on that side versus Namor, Chosen of Bast, and then Nick Fury was also over there. All by himself.
Way to go, Bob.
Now there's a big piece of terrain that was kind of in the way, so that helped. But he kept like attacking with Namor and doing 1 damage and then doing the short move, and then I'd push him off the point so he couldn't flip it. And then Bast also did the same thing, did like 1 damage, or maybe it was 2 and I reduced it down to 1, and then pushed him off the point. So he never got to flip or had a hard time trying to flip my mutant madman that Blob was standing on. because he kept making attacks and doing a little bit of damage and getting pushed off. I think he finally flipped it by not making an attack. He just
Yeah,
moved
that's
over
what
to
you
the
got to
point
do.
and tried to flip it because he was also trying to take Blob out. I did miss a perfect opportunity uh, to um, patch up Blob to make his when he had one health left to make his life so much harder, and I wish I had, but I didn't. So this was like I basically, except for Blob holding it down over there. He didn't have an extract though, so uh, if Blob had went down earlier, this game would have been a lot closer because he won that flank, no problem. And then to try to keep me from winning on the turn I won, he went over and tried to daze Deadpool and just rolled bad and didn't. And then he did flip my point, but then I just teleported Apocalypse and was going and punched Namor and dazed him and then flipped the point back. And if that hadn't worked, I was willing to sacrifice Deadpool to give Apocalypse another chance.
Oh, use that one card
Yeah, because
that
he
that
was
KOs the character.
because he was still healthy, so I wouldn't have staggered. So I would have had two more attacks and a chance to flip.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I would have had
I
to.
mean, yeah, that's
I would have had to double check the rule book to see if I could, because I didn't have any characters left to activate. So I don't know if I get.
You cannot.
Well, there's a weird timing that I
So,
was
but
gonna
you
have to
never
check.
are the active player,
No, but
and you have no, and you have to be active to use the active card. So you
yes,
never are the active player to use it. There's
right.
another card but you could not because you can't field dressing that way, and that was the same like aspect. You couldn't play field dressing even if it was legal if you have no models to choose.
Okay, so I know I can't do that, Brandon. But could I, and this is what I have to check, end Apocalypse's activation, but not my turn, put a counter on him. It's still my active turn, play the card. I
I
don't
think
know.
you.
I'd
Yeah,
have
I
to
don't
look at
think
the
you get the
timing.
activation. I don't think you get the activation token until like I think that's the last thing, and then you pass. I
Okay.
don't think you
That's
have a
that's what
time
I
to
had
do
to
that.
check the timing for, and I never
Yeah,
did because it wasn't
yeah,
relevant. But I was going to go to the book because it could have come down to that.
yeah. That would. I mean, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, because I know with
No,
field
no, no.
dressing, I
It
remember
was
that.
not going to come back around to me. I knew that,
Yeah,
and that's
that'd be
it.
interesting. I
I
do
I
think.
won that game
Good.
17-11.
okay. Well, I'll ask you that later. Brandon, what was your
What?
round two?
I played Borka.
Yep.
That's it.
Is that it? How did this go? How did this game go?
We played Alien Ship and Riots. So it was D and C. We played 17 Threat because those are both 17s. I played Hulk, Emma, Black Cat, and a 4 threat. Hulk, Emma, Black Cat. What was oh, Psylocke. Yeah, she's important in this game. I played Psylocke. So I played Hellfire Club in the second man. Uh,
Okay.
because there were only seven things to get. Playing because I my 17 um with Mystique would have been 4-3. It would have been the same fourth. It would have just been the same list without Toad as 19. So it would have been Juggernaut and then the Mystique, Black Cat, Pyro, Blob. I think he has a lot better game into that. Hulk was important, so I just pushed Hulk right up the middle and attacked his back D with Hulk. Um, so this game started out funny because we rolled the exact same and like roll for initiative 3 times in a row. So it came down to the fourth roll on who even got to like priority and stuff. Um, this game came down to it went to 6 rounds. We were in round 6 when it finished. It came down to a couple rolls not going. Namor wasn't. Namor had 2 attacks into trying to daze Emma, who was on her frozen side. Um, and he did 5 of 6 damage, and then Hulk was able to kill Shang-Chi, or daze Shang-Chi, um, at full health with a 7 die attack. So it just kind of that was. I mean, that's what determined the game. Like that was where the game ended. If Shang-Chi lives, I push Shang-Chi away because Hulk has no damage in him. I kept everyone healed with Emma's leadership and the riots pretty like consistent. Like nobody on Emma was the only character dazed, and there was no damage on the other ones.
Oh
Psylocke.
man.
So I was able to stay very healed up. The so like he had Steve Rogers, Captain America 1 to activate. He either had to daze Hulk at 20 health.
Okay. I don't
Psylocke
know
is
if
on
that's
the
possible.
it's yeah, it wasn't. Psylocke was on the complete opposite side of the map. She was on the right D. Black Cat was on his home D. Um, no one else was near them. And Black Panther and Namor were on the back, my home D with Emma and Psylocke. So Psylocke was so going into round 6. Black Panther had 1 health left, so Psylocke was able to attack and then short move and then medium move to get on the far D. So she got away. Um, Namor charged in, made the attacks into Emma, dealt 5 damage, needed 6. Hulk then killed Dazed Shang-Chi, but the first attack Steve bodyguarded, so I pushed him towards the like far corner. So he was kind of away from everything. He couldn't bodyguard the second attack. And then I rolled 7 dice and had 7 successes. Um, he rolled 2 hits, a blank, and a like shield, which so he had 2 blocks, so he took 5, which is what Shang-Chi has on that side. Um,
And this is why Borka does not trust the dice in
yeah, because like
MCV.
I mean, because up to this point, we neither one of us rolled anything. Like we were not rolling like good or bad. Like it was just all like, oh, I have 2, oh, I have 2, or if you get like 5, like, oh, I got 4, and it was just kind of like this weird thing of like my most of my successes came on like Psylocke where she had like counting blanks, um, or I was able to like use Emma's Mystic um, defense with like Psychonic Restraints from Psylocke. That came in handy really well. It's a card Brad should be playing that he forgot about, but that's besides the point.
There's 2 Psylocke
Yeah,
cards I should add to my Apocalypse list.
probably. Yeah, so he was able to move Steve. He could move Steve, but he couldn't shield throw and hit Emma. Because if he dazes Emma, there's a chance. I think like there's a chance that like he still wins, or because that's 2 points I don't get, and there's a world where then we go to another round, and if we go to another round, it's just like super over. Like he kills Emma, like he has enough points because he was holding 2 of the extracts, so it gets kind of fuzzy at that point. But yeah, the big turn happened when it was supposed to, and it was just, I mean, the game came down to 1 dice roll, and it was just a lucky die roll. If that doesn't happen, and that's what I told him. I said the plan was to push him off the attack with Hulk and then throw him just to get him further away to where like he couldn't contest a point because if he comes back and contests the point, I we don't score that point, and that takes it down to 17. And then if he dazes Emma, that takes it down to 15, and it's 15, 15, and we go into sudden death or however that works.
Right. You keep going. You keep playing until I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it didn't happen. Playing 6 rounds is stupid. I like a whole lot of playing 3, but we talked about it. I mean, he feel. I mean, and we kind of agree. Like he just took the wrong list. Like he kind of has to take a Hulk if he knows I have a Hulk. Um, the
Or
Hulks just have to punch each other.
something that can kill a Hulk.
Yeah, and Avengers don't. I mean,
Cable.
Avengers don't really have that. Yeah, you have to change your whole roster. I don't think he had Cable on his roster.
No, he
I
didn't
don't think
have
he had
Cable on his
any.
roster. But when you're building your roster, you need to think about what to do against a Hulk, and you either need something equivalent
Yeah, and he has Hulk,
or
so
something
he
to
should.
kill.
Yeah, he should have just played Hulk. Is really what it came down to. Because like, and he has Vision, when Vision's really good into a Hulk, but like, Vision can't play on a D very well, like at all. Like he's just in a weird spot like the entire game.
Hmm.
So, because he doesn't have any like movement shenanigans.
Right. He's just
So,
he's stuck out isolated wherever you put him.
yeah, so like whatever point, like unless he stays on the home point, and like I said, I just kind of bum rushed his front point. I mean, Hulk on turn 1, he moved. Uh,
The,
he moved
looking
up, punched.
looking looking over at their game, I thought they were playing an E.
Just because
Yeah.
everyone was right down the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shoved Hulk right down his throat. Like Emma stayed on the back D, but like Hulk moved up, um, punched, gamma leaped, pushed, and like I think I got power to throw. So it was just like he did everything you wanted to do on like turn 1, and I at the end of turn 1, like Steve, he had like 3 people on his home D, and like I was just like forcing Hulk into the guts of it. And then like I mean he played it right because he bookends, so like he moved Namor to one side, um, and moved like Black Panther was on one side already, so it was just Steve and Namor. And I honestly felt with Hulk that was not a matchup I was like super terrified of. Those are not models that are like super killing people.
I mean, Steve can
They
shell out some damage, but you're correct. Like,
And
oh, and this is Steve 1, not Steve 3.
yes.
yes
Okay,
yes
then never mind.
yeah. So it's like I wasn't super scared of like the 20 damage. Like he would need a lot of spikes. And like Namor does a lot of stuff, but he's not out here killing people with like 20 health. So like Steve had 5 dice attacks, Namor had what 6 dice attacks. So it's not like, and they were all physical. So it wasn't. So he took Namor and went to the side, and I just kept pushing and throwing Steve away, and kind of forced him out of the game for the most part until he went to the other side. He's like, "Fuck this," and went to the other side. So I mean, he played well. Like I said, it was just one of those things where he should have taken a different list. I
Yeah.
had to take the list because we talked about it before. I showed him the 2 lists that I was like deciding between. Like he was like, "I wish he would have taken the other list," and I was like, "Well, yeah, that list would have lost." So
All
there
right
just
then.
wasn't enough points on the board. So
So that makes you the winner of this tournament.
I did win this tournament.
Well, congratulations, Brandon. Well done.
Thanks. And then we were gonna play round robin, but Brad got lucky and didn't get smashed in the face by me. So
I really wanted to play round robin.
I know you did. You really wanted to go 1 and 2.
I wanted to get
All
more
right. Well,
practice with Apocalypse. I am taking him to a big tournament soon.
yeah.
I know.
Are
I
you
just like
taking him?
giving you a
Is he
hard
who
time.
you're taking to second wind?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, here's a fun thing. I played fully painted models in both games. Fully
Ooh.
painted
You had to
roster.
borrow something.
I did borrow one the second game, but
Okay.
round 1 I was the only one playing a fully painted AMG official list.
I have an answer to my question. The rules uh, booklet did not answer the question about whether I could play that tactics card after he gets the activation token, but I went to the rules forum. I cannot.
You cannot.
I
Okay.
cannot. It
Because your turn ends the moment that you put that
The
activation token on him.
activation token goes on. You resolve any effects that are on that resolve at the end of activation,
Healing
and the
factor et
ones that
al.
end at the end of a turn, but you don't have a window to play new cards
Okay then.
after the
Which is
token goes on.
exactly how that should work, for the
Yeah.
record.
Yeah. All right. Well, I had two games that I'll just go real quick on. I played these happened on Thursday.
You don't have to
Uh
go that quick. Just talk about that second one.
I played against Borka and his Guardians of the Galaxy round 1. This is one of the reasons why Borka hates the dice
Round
because
one.
my dice were what?
You said round one.
Oh, I did. My first game, and this is why Borka hates the dice of this game because my dice were on fire and his were garbage. Like, I mean, like his were terrible. I needed to daze. I was playing. He was playing Guardians and he had Thor, 6 threat Thor in his list. I was playing Spider Foes, as all of you know, and at one point I successfully pushed Thor pretty far away using Sandman. And so Thor spent one action moving forward, so he didn't get 2 actions of attacks. He then made his attacks and did not daze anybody because his dice were garbage. And then I surprise web-headed and I rolled hot fire again and KO'd Thor before I think I did it at the top of round 3. I think that's when it actually occurred, but that was basically when the game went in my favor. Round 2, I played against Brandon, and
He said
Brandon
round
was
again.
I did. I did. Round 2, I played against Brandon, and Brandon was playing Dracula, and I was trying to go into I think this was Riot Spark, and a I think it was cubes. I think it was struggle for the cubes in Riot
It
Spark.
was. It was Cubes and Riots. I've played
Yeah.
so much Riots lately.
And I feel like I did better this game in than my previous game into Dracula, but he still stomped me. It was still a very one-sided game.
You mean when you
Uh,
changed your entire list of tech for Dracula?
yeah, yeah. I changed my. I brought Electro, which is a lot better into Dracula, um, and I didn't bring Sandman, who is terrible into Dracula. But it's still.
Oh, don't forget about Maverick.
Oh yes, yeah.
Your
I
your
I
special
tried
tech
out
piece.
Maverick. I tried out Maverick, trying to. And do you know why I forgot about him? He did jack shit this game.
I killed the shit out of
Yeah,
Maverick.
that's what happened. I brought Maverick to try and like tamp down Dracula's self healing, and I think he did it once. Like he prevented you from healing like
He
one or
prevented
two
me from
health.
healing 2 health.
Okay, but then he died.
I still
And
healed a lot in this game.
yeah, he still healed a lot, and it really felt bad. And Blade was an absolute stud again. It was just real bad for me. I've got to come up with something to deal with this because
Yeah, you're gonna
this
see
list is crazy.
Dracula a lot once he's allowed to play him in tournaments.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get the reps. I'm gonna figure it out.
I think my favorite thing that happened in this game is kind of like so like there's just like a distraction point where like with Venom and Dracula where like Blade and Adam were just able to do whatever they wanted and like
Yeah,
the extra power that like Blade gets being able to like spender like every like starting on turn 2 every turn is so incredibly good.
and you can
And
just
then
give someone bleed. You can just like spend a power and give someone bleed, and then when you spend her with blade, you get to reroll everything.
yeah, and then Adam having the cube just took like I think he ended up taking like 4 damage with the cube and then just charged Maverick and was like, "Oh, I can use my spender and it's like 10 dice and you're dead."
There is one thing that happened in this game, and that is that I used custom upgrades on Lizard against Dracula, and Lizard fighting Dracula, he did surprisingly well. He did okay. Like not terribly. I still lost. I still lost the fight, but
Damage reduction was important. You only
Yeah.
let me attack back like 6 times in this game.
Right. Yeah. I didn't constantly attack the wrong people every single
I
time.
I did kill lizard. I dazed lizard in the middle of his activation.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I killed him in the middle of his activation too.
That's probably true.
I dazed Craven in his activation. I did not kill him in his activation.
You killed him with Frank.
Yeah, I killed him because you tried to run away with him, and Adam was just like, "All right, you ran to the wrong point."
Yeah. Yeah. So Dracula's real good. Like real good. So just
Good
keep
time.
that in mind, everybody.
Been a good time.
Um
I want to talk about. I played a game with New Mutants
oh, okay.
last week. Well, the week before last, according to when this comes out, it'll be 2 weeks, and they felt really good. And I think more people need to play New Mutants. I feel like they're actually like a really good. I've kind of came full circle. I think they're just a really good attrition list because I think Sunspot and Cable are really good to play that attrition game, and being able to move them within range three, with the leadership for a power, just being able to port them over at the end of like one of their activations. So on like so if you have, so say you're attacking on your second attack, at the end of it, I can just get a port Cable into your face, and then now
Yeah.
I just get to shoot you twice, or then I can move and throw. I can do a lot of stuff. Same thing with Sunspot. Um, I've been thinking about that a lot. I played with Greg, who's getting into the game. Um, I did have to temper some stuff because it was kind of working really well. But he played really well. He's getting the hang of things. Hopefully, we can get some more games in, and he can kind of continue to get reps. Because he's been playing miniature games for a long time, so getting more games in. But New Mutants felt really good. They're not having a great showing right away. I'm not sure how people are trying to play them, but I think Sunspot and Cable and Magic are like that. I think that's where you start your list. Um,
Who else was in your list after
I
those three?
played Cable, Sunspot, Magic.
Warlock?
No, I didn't play Warlock. He hadn't built Warlock yet, so I didn't
Oh,
play
okay.
Warlock. Um, I want to say it's someone that's affiliated in the. I think I played fully affiliated, but I've got to look at their affiliated models real quick because I do not remember all of them.
Well, all right. This was 2 weeks ago, so
Oh, I
but
played Emma.
Emma. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
played Emma. Yeah, I played Emma. I think that's it. I think I played just Cable,
This-
Emma, Magic, Sunspot. Did I? Yeah, because I don't have Shadowcat. I did. I do feel like I played Shadowcat though. No, I didn't. I wanted to play Shadowcat, but I don't own her, and I don't think mathematically it made sense.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's 16. Yeah, that would make mathematical sense.
Okay. Well,
That was also riots.
you keep playing on riots.
Just living my
Uh,
life on riots.
all right. We've spent enough time talking about games played. Let's move on to another thing because it's already been almost an hour. Hey Brad, do you have a trivia game for us to play?
I sure do, Fred. I know how much you love trivia.
Oh
Uh,
boy, I'm so excited.
I look forward every week to opening up the note on my phone that says trivia exclamation point for Fred.
Oh gosh.
So how this works is I'm gonna give Fred some trivia about three Marvel Crisis Protocol characters. Uh, I'm gonna give him a piece of trivia, and if he gets it right, he'll get 3 points. And then I'm going to give him a hint, and if he gets it right after the hint, I'll give him 2 points. And then finally, he can go to Brandon for some help to earn 1 point. Fred needs 7 points to win.
7? Is this an easy one?
Okay, fine. 6 points to win.
Okay. Okay.
I hate the.
I also thought I was like, I guess it has to be easy if he's making it 7 points.
I just hate the you can go 2-2-2, but that is also completely on you at that point.
Yeah, that's me doing it.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Si-
that's not gonna happen. So
Yeah,
Yeah. 6 points for Fred to win. Fred, do you have any questions? Great. Originally debuting as the love interest of both a superhero and that superhero's civilian identity, making for a weird love triangle, This character would later get powers of their own and then lose them in the same issue after succumbing to fear of the unknown. Just to gain other different powers and a code name later, and then lose them. To gain different powers and a new code name again. This time
Oh
keeping
boy.
them, at least for now.
um, is it Black Cat?
No,
Okay.
that is incorrect. Your hint. This character starts off as a doctor's assistant slash nurse, but becomes a full doctor in their own right off panel between series. Sorry, between series. During the superhero Civil War, this character takes Captain America's anti-registration side and can be seen assisting him and performing medical treatment to heroes on his side, like Spider-Man.
Well, crap. Who's a doctor? Who is uh I'm not sure who is a doctor who would have taken Captain America's side and who has lost their superpowers twice and then regained them twice and different superpowers.
Yeah, it was different superpowers each time of those 3 times.
Oh boy. Oh. Is it Ghost Spider?
It is not Ghost Spider.
Okay. Dang it.
Brandon, you can help him out.
Yeah, I don't think I can. I really don't think I can. Lost superpowers twice. I want to get and got completely different superpowers.
Yes.
Oh God, that's like the key, right?
You see, what I was thinking was like, I guess it could have been Gwenom, but that would be because that was
like
my
Gwen,
thought process.
like Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, Gwen
What?
Stacy. That's why I should have said
Captain
Gwenom.
Marvel is the only person I can think of at this point, but I don't feel like that's very fitting. Because I feel like she's had like different types of superpowers, like her or Miss Marvel. Those are the only ones that I can think of that are like in this game.
The
It's
reason
like,
why I was sitting there thinking about people in the Spider-Man universe because this person was a love interest for a hero and their alter ego, and there really aren't a whole lot of heroes that have alter egos that aren't known. It's really just Spider-Man. There are a couple others, but that's the famous one.
yeah, I'm gonna go with
Historically, before the MCU started, that is not true, Fred. Just to
Okay,
let you
well,
know.
I'm gonna go with Miss Marvel.
Okay, Miss Marvel Kamala Khan or Miss Marvel Carol Danvers?
Kamala Khan.
Okay, that is incorrect.
Is it
is
Danvers?
Carol Danvers
It is
correct?
not. She was
Okay.
a fighter pilot.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
knew that.
yeah.
That's why I
Not a
got That's why I
doctor.
was. Yeah, that's why I
Kamala
was like, for
Khan
her.
is not a doctor. She is a high school student.
Well, she could have been a nurse later.
So it was a little tricky here because this character has been in the MCU and was a doctor, but not a medical doctor in the MCU.
Okay.
And one of the times that this female character got powers was depicted in the MCU.
Not a medical doctor.
But it's not. They weren't a medical doctor in the MCU. They were
Right.
just a doctor, like a PhD doctor.
They were
Yeah.
a physicist.
Oh, it's fucking Thor, Mighty Thor.
It's
Jane Foster.
Jane
Oh,
Foster, yeah.
obviously.
So
Oh, I see.
she her first visit to Asgard, Odin gave her powers because he was impressed with her. But he took them away when she fought this like big beast that was literally called Unknown. That was the name of the beast.
Okay.
So on my note,
Unknown.
It says after succumbing to the fear of the unknown, and it's capitalized because that was its name.
Ah.
But I thought, you wouldn't have known that anyway. But I
Right.
was very happy when I wrote that. Okay.
So wait, she lost her power a second time? Like when did
She
she get new powers and then lose new
Okay,
powers?
so she got those powers from Odin and got them taken away the same issue. Then she becomes the new Thor, loses that, and Thor becomes Thor again.
Okay.
And then now she's a Valkyrie.
Oh, okay.
She died of cancer and became a Valkyrie.
Okay.
I think she
Okay.
died of cancer. She died and became a Valkyrie and is back. Also, little known fact from the comics is Thor had a civilian identity of Donald Blake, and Jane Foster was Donald Blake's assistant nurse person.
Okay.
And then
Donald Blake. Very
also interested in Thor. And that's a very DC setup. It's a Lois Lane or a Carol Ferris type situation.
Uh-huh.
Where she's like kind of dating both the superhero and his civilian identity.
Right. Yeah, like how and what is he wearing glasses when he's
No,
whatever
no,
the
he looks
vanilla
completely
name is?
different. He has because Donald Blake was a real person that then got the soul of Thor. So he
Oh,
looks
okay.
completely different. He does have long blonde hair, and he is wearing glasses, but he also has a limp and has to use a cane, and he smacks the cane on the ground, and it turns into Mjolnir.
Okay. Okay. Huh. Huh. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I
All right,
also
let's move
forgot
on.
Mighty Thor was even in the game.
she is.
She's
She is.
good.
She is.
Your next character. The son of a Nazi, this physicist first shows up in Fantastic Four 53 with no superpowers.
The son of a Nazi. Uh, my first, my knee jerk was Arnim Zola, but he just is a Nazi, I think. Uh, son of a Nazi. It's not gonna be Baron Strucker either. I don't know who's. They first showed up in Fantastic Four.
Number
Is
53. And they're a physicist.
that's gonna help me a lot. That the number 53, and that they're a physicist. I've got no. Wait.
This is ironic because I weirdly think I know who this is. And I don't feel like I should, but honestly, the physicist part actually, I think, like sealed the deal for me. That I think
Is it
I know who
Hulk?
this is.
It is
Is
not
it Bruce Banner?
It is not Hulk.
Okay. I don't know Bruce Banner. I know his father was a bad guy. That's all I know.
In the movie.
Well, okay. That's all I know.
It's kind of made its way into the comics too. That's why he has so much trauma. But your hint. Sorry, I had to cough. Captured by his arch nemesis, this character is stored in Project Pegasus, a facility that was originally built to study alternative, unusual energy sources, but turned into a place to study superheroes. This is where the character meets the mutant Dazzler. Dazzler destroys this character and temporarily becomes a herald of Galactus. Doctor Doom is able to restore this character in a later storyline.
Okay. Oh boy, it's like it's going in between. Oh, is it Claw? Is this Claw?
It is Claw.
Haha. Do you know why? Because Dazzler is like a Sonic powers, and he's all Sonic-y,
Yes.
right?
She completely absorbs him and uses the level up power from him and the power cosmic from Galactus to seal a black hole, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she
Nice.
goes in the black hole, beats up Terex, the what is his moniker? I don't remember. And
I have trouble with the physics of this.
and pulls him out and then seals the black hole, I think.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Brandon, did you know what this was from the first clue?
Yeah. Because of I want to say the physicist like solidified it, but the son of a Nazi. I feel like I've read that somewhere,
Yeah.
or I've
It's
seen that somewhere about Claw.
his
I
original
mean,
last name is spelled Klue.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
German.
I
And
think I
his
looked up his page one day and it said like it was Ulysses Claw, but it was Klue, but
yeah,
it's like alias was Klaw.
yeah.
Yeah.
His dad was sent to Wakanda during World War II to like study vibranium by the Nazis, and then after World War II, he fled to somewhere, changed his last name,
Argentina?
had a son. No, it was somewhere in Europe.
Okay.
I just don't remember what it was.
So
Also,
Claw
not
is
all.
not one of the boys of Brazil.
No. I have that book sitting on my shelf to read. Uh,
All right. Well, so
2 points.
that's 2 points for me.
Two
Okay.
points.
Okay.
So if I'm doing my math correctly and you get 3 points on this next one, you still lose. Okay.
That's correct.
Initially appearing in Atlas Comics, in an Atlas comic, there we go, which is a precursor to Marvel. This character continues to show up to this day. This character seemingly fought the X-Men in the 60s, but that turned out to be a robot. This character also is in a pre-MCU movie.
Oh boy. A pre-MCU movie. And they fought the mutants, but that turned out to be a robot
Yes.
in the 60s.
And
I think I know who this is too.
they predate Marvel being called Marvel.
Oh boy.
This
So this is an old one.
this is
Like an
a
old.
fairly old character.
Yeah. Is it Iron Man?
No.
Okay.
Your hint. This character was captured along with Spider-Man and Man-Wolf. Man-Wolf is a Spider-Man frenemy, and he's She-Hulk's husband, and it's J. Jonah
Wait.
Jameson's son.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Just clearing up
Okay.
all the thing about Man-Wolf. And he is a werewolf. He's a werewolf astronaut that got turned into a werewolf on the moon.
I'm a lot less confident now that I know this.
But this character, Spider-Man and Man-Wolf, they were captured by a mad scientist who wanted to combine Spider-Man's wall-crawling ability, Man-Wolf's appearance, and this character's strength. This character and Spider-Man were arrested by S.H.I.E.L.D. after they defeated the villain. A clone of this character later works for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Is this Abomination?
No.
Okay. Poop.
Brandon.
Is this Dracula?
No.
He fits a lot of these things. That's why I was curious.
This
I don't know who else
is
it could be.
Frankenstein's monster.
That was
Okay.
my second
Okay.
guess.
Now, the pre-MCU movie is not a Marvel movie, but that's a minor detail.
Is it Frankenstein?
Yeah. But that's the same character, Fred.
Yeah. Okay.
Dracula was in a pre-MCU movie.
A pre-MCU
That was-
Marvel movie.
He was in a
Right?
pre.
'Cause he was
He
in
fits
Blade
all of
3.
this stuff. Yeah, it's in the Blade movies.
So, also, I neglected to say that I said a clone of him worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. He also then later works for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was why. That's where I That's why I chose him over Frankenstein's monster because I know they both came from like Atlas Comics.
Yeah.
But I was also like, when you said a clone, I was like, well, Dracula would never work for Shield, so like a clone could.
Yeah, the Atlas Comics was making horror comics in the 50s, and that's where a lot of these
Yeah.
characters actually come from.
All the
Okay.
monsters come from that, like more or less, right?
Living Mummy was later. We talked about
Okay.
him last time, but we'll talk about him a little bit later too. And Werewolf by Night was later. Uh, those two and Ghost Rider all appear about the same time in the 70s. And that's also when they bring Frankenstein's monster back.
Checks out.
And they start using him more. And they bring Dracula back and start using him more during the monster revival. All right,
Well,
Fred,
I tried, Fred. I wasn't very good for you.
you have 2 points.
Yeah, I do.
Your
I do have two
bonus
points.
worth 10 points today. What do these characters have in common?
Well, I think that all three of them are immune to shock.
Okay, for
Is that what it
0
is?
points, you got the bonus question right.
Okay. Yeah, I because I knew that Frankenstein's monster was, and I knew that Mighty Thor was immune to shock. I was not sure about
Yeah, you
Claw,
got
but I
those.
bet I
You got
was.
that so quickly.
I was pretty sure because I remember that I brought up that Frankenstein's monster is immune to shock, and I like that. That's a fun little
Claw
bullet to
has
add.
4 very good immunities, for the
I
record.
didn't even look
He's
at
immune.
them. I
What are
used.
Claw's immunities?
He's immune to bleed, incinerate, poison, and shock.
Holy moly, he is really. Those are all really good.
I
Yeah.
looked up the new tag Immunity Shock and didn't have to even look at the card
Okay.
Yeah.
when I put this list together.
All right. Well, so I lost, but I did get the final question correct for 10 points, according to Brad, before I got it correct.
You got it too
But
easily.
because I knew what it was. And I remembered all three of the people, which always helps.
Yeah.
That's a huge advantage when Fred
I,
actually
I
remembers the
should have
answers to
put
the
I
question.
should
When
have
I
put
remember
Jane
them.
Foster in the middle. Then you're more
Yeah, if you
likely to
would put
get it
Jane
wrong.
Foster. You're correct. All right. Well, thank you, Brad, for that trivia game. I think that it is time for us to move on to the person that we are doing here today, and that person is Unkantu, the living mummy, also known as Unkantu. His defense stats are four physical, two energy, and four mystic. He has five stamina on both sides of his card. He is a threat value of three, size two, and he is a medium mover. Brad, why don't you do the attacks?
His first attack is physical. It's Swarili Strike. It's range 2, 5 dice, cost 0. Gain power equal to damage dealt. Wild Push. After attack is resolved. Size 3 or less. Away short. And Wild Hit Mummy's Curse. After attack is resolved, the target character gains the Hex special condition. His next attack is Mystic. Sever Soul. It's range 4, 6 dice, cost 2. After attack is resolved, if damage is dealt, this character gains a captured soul token.
Okay, Brandon, why don't you do? I'll just finish off the card. It's not actually a whole lot of reading. It's just a bunch of superpowers.
Sure, it's not. First one is an active superpower called Living Death. It costs no power. This character may spend any number of captured soul tokens. For each captured soul token spent, this character may remove one special condition from itself, remove a damage from itself, or gain one power. For the reactive superpower, Undead Empowerment, also costing 0 power. While this character is attacking, at the end of the modified dice step, it may use the superpower. Spend one or more captured soul tokens. For each captured soul token spent this way, this character may count one failure result in its roll as a wild for the remainder of the attack roll. Its static ability is called Alchemical Curse of Nephros. When this character would suffer damage, reduce the amount suffered by 1 to a minimum of 1. And then the next static superpower is Anubis's Soul Harvester. When another character is dazed or KO'd, this character gains a captured soul token. This character may have a maximum of 3 captured soul tokens at any time. He is immune to bleed, hex, and poison.
Yeah. So, one, all of that rocks. But two, he has a tactics card that I'll do here real quick. It is called Service to Anubis. It is an unaffiliated active action tactics card. And during Encanto, the Living Mummy's activation, he may spend 2 or more power to play this card. This character makes the attack shown above. That attack is a mystic attack called Soulstorm. It is area star, 0 power, 0 cost. The range of this attack is equal to the number of captured soul tokens this character has. So it would be area 3 if he has 3 captured soul tokens. You may add dice to this attack roll made as part of this attack equal to the amount of damage of power spent to play this card. After all attacks are resolved from this area attack, remove all captured soul tokens from this character, and then wild hit Mummy's Curse. After each attack is resolved, the target character gains the Hex special condition. Okay, so that is a tactics card that exists. It's not great. It's an attack tactics card, which never feels like it's all that good. I do think that this character doesn't have a whole lot of ways to spend power, so
He
he
has like
might.
no ways. You literally like the game I played with him. You just spender every like both attacks.
Yeah,
Yep.
you spend her every single attack. And this guy, like this tactics card, I don't think it ever makes. I don't think it makes your 10. Uh, it's just not that good. Maybe if you build a list around it for fun, this could be a fun tactics card. It would work because it would feel pretty cool to do a big area 3 where you roll 10 dice if you had 10 power on Encanto. But I don't think that you play this in a
Yeah.
competitive sense.
Perfect world is you. It's area 3, 10 dice.
Yeah, which is incredible. That would be a devastating attack, but you're never gonna have that come up, and I don't think that this card works well enough to be worth taking.
Yeah, the only time and like there is a world because Dracula needs tactics cards, but I don't think you ever really play it. He does have the captured soul tokens a lot, but you're usually just using them to heal. I also love that he can just take a captured soul and remove stagger. Like that just feels so good.
Oh yeah, I love that's amazing. Okay, let's talk about this character because there's a lot to talk about. Hey Brad,
Yeah,
I always call on other people first. Why don't you
you
talk
do.
first?
And it makes my life a lot harder because I have the most vanilla takes. So, Living Death, not once per turn.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you can do
so,
it 3 times.
so you can do a lot more than three. He
Yeah,
could,
Oh, you can do it 5 times. You're right.
you
you
could
can do it
do
six
it.
times.
You could do it more than six in the perfect world, but six is realistic. So you can start with three, turn that into whatever, including power to double Sever Soul to get 2 of them
Hmm.
back, and probably daze a character while you're doing that to get 3 to then convert them to whatever you want. However, this
7 is
Yeah.
the most if you have 3 in one turn, and then you can gain 2 on each attack, right?
no, because there is um he's a Midnight Sun. What's that talk? Oh, Siege of Darkness.
Yeah.
Oh, you can Siege of Dark. Yeah,
So
you can
you
do
Siege
that
can
can
on his
only
turn.
be 3 attacks though, so you could daze a third character and get an eighth one.
but you could spend 3, get get 4 with the captured soul tokens and spend them
I
as you go.
I don't think
Yeah.
that you can Siege of Darkness into a Sever Soul. I don't think you
No,
can.
you
I think it
can't.
has to be a cost 0.
But those other characters dazing
If other people daze other people,
Oh,
you
other
can
they
do
might
people
multiple.
daze other
days,
people.
you can get 3
Yeah,
more. So you can go up to like 10 because
that
of
would be bananas.
the timing of Living Death. You can't like do it in the middle of Siege of Darkness, so you have to be clean at the start of Siege of Darkness. You can only then gain 3. There is
So you can.
also, because unlike Hela, these don't let him live. Uh, Hela needs to camp 3 souls on her backside. And that's not on Living Mummy's card. So there is no reason to end a turn with souls.
Right. You want to spend them all.
You want to spend them all every time so that next time it comes around to him, he has 3.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, 'cause he has nothing like there's nothing reactive. Everything's offensive.
yeah, the this guy's gonna catch a lot of people out because they're gonna think I'm not in range 2 of him, and he only has 1 or no power. He can't even spender me, and then bam, double spender.
The range four
Right.
spender's so good.
Yeah, it's gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna catch so many people, uh, and
It
like
really is.
uh, you can like if you're full on soul tokens, you can easily spend them to count a skull as wilds on the spender to then get a soul token back.
If you chunk it up to dazing them.
Yeah, well, no, because if you just have to do damage.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
if
okay.
you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
gonna get one, you might as well spend one. If you
Yep.
rolled that
That's fair.
skull,
Yeah.
you might as well. It also makes his triggers on his builder way easier to get.
Oh yeah.
Way easier to
Way
get.
easier to get.
And the fact that
I,
this guy, on top of all of this, has damage reduction.
I know. That's the thing that's crazy is that this everything on here would be worth a 3 threat model if he didn't have damage reduction, but he does.
He
He
does.
reduces damage
I think this guy is amazing
and rolls 4 defenses on 2 different
on
options.
2 different
on
things.
2 different things on
Yeah.
physical. That's
Yes.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Brandon, what are your thoughts here?
He always has soul tokens. He always has power. He never has conditions on him. He's hard to kill, because you can just heal him and just keep healing him and just keep healing him. Um, he can stay out of the fight because he has a range 4 attack.
Wake up,
Sorry.
Brandon.
Yeah, he has a range 4 attack, so he can stay out of the fight but still impact everything. If you can't, he's very hard to take 1-on-1 unless you're putting someone much higher of a threat value into him.
Or energy. You could
Yeah.
put someone who does a lot of energy damage into him.
I mean, even then, like you still have the damage reduction, and if he gets to activate in
Yeah.
between, like he still can heal a bunch. Like you can heal, he easily can heal 4 damage off himself in 1 turn, like
Yeah.
easily.
Absolutely. I think
So
that this character is an interesting case where you know how when you're thinking about characters, there's some characters that you want to activate first in a round, and there are some characters that you want to activate last in a round. This guy's a mid-round activation, I think.
well, he can
And
also like the if they get too close, if they're in range 2, you can push them away and hex them with like a soul token.
hmm
If you roll a skull instead of a wild, so you can get extra damage through. Now you can get a push and the hex. So then they have to come back into range 2. They're hexed, so they're not exploding their crits. And like he can't be bled. Like so he's just kind of like sitting there with like an annoying situation happening, and then he just can. And then if you do damage, he just turns around and then uses his soul tokens to heal back up. No, like if he had a good tactics card, he'd be entirely too good. He's very, very good.
I think he's outstanding. Do you know? This is not a good comparison. I was thinking about him in a similar state as Lizard. Lizard, I think, is still better because he's a medium base. But this character, even on a small base, can still get out there, and he can survive a lot more than you would think he can.
They do different things. Like
They do.
Lizard
They
does
do
a
do
lot
different things.
more of like stealing objectives, where this person's just gonna hold down like an objective.
hmm
Like you're not really gonna throw them into the fight because when you get within range 2, like a lot of the range 2 attacks have a lot more dice. They're gonna do a lot more damage. Um, he really wants to, in my opinion, he wants to stay back with that mystic attack and just kind of zap people.
Be a
Um,
blaster. Be a turret.
yeah, yeah, and then there are matchups that are don't look good for him. Like Convocation's obviously not a good situation for him, but like I mean, he does a lot of stuff for three threat. Like he's at the top echelon of those three threat models.
I absolutely agree. Uh, yeah, this guy rules. I think he's outstanding. I think he's aside from Dracula, I think he's my favorite monster. Um, yeah,
Like his only downside is he does absolutely nothing when it's not his activation.
yeah, yeah. His only downside is that he doesn't get out of activation nonsense that he can do.
Yeah, he has
That's not
nothing.
even a downside.
Yeah, I mean he has nothing reactive. Like he has no like any like he when it's not his turn, like, he can't do anything. So
Right, right.
which is uncommon. They've been giving people, but like if he had something like if his adjustment if he could alter dice for defense or attacking, it'd be insane.
Yeah. Okay.
He
Well,
would he'd
we need
have
to
to be a 4 point character at least.
yeah.
Yeah.
We need to give this guy a letter grade.
If you just
Uh,
bump him up to if you make that offense and defense and give him a health on one side, I feel like you could justify him being a four threat character.
oh, I agree. I agree. He would feel like a good four threat. All right, let's give this guy a letter grade. I'm gonna go first. I'm giving him an A plus. Giving him a solid A plus. I think he's great. I think he's a great three threat. I want to put him in my Spider Foes list. Like, no kidding. He's probably gonna go in my Spider Foes list. All right, Brandon, what are you gonna give to Encantu?
I don't like agreeing with you, but I am also going to give him an A plus because I do think you can splash him in a lot of places. Bringing a range 4 Mystic attack is something a lot of lists don't have and would probably like. We do live in a world where there are a lot of good characters that have weak Mystic defenses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Brad, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so this character probably gets included in all of his affiliations, which I'm calling now are uh, Midnight Suns, Shield, and maybe Convocation.
But to clarify, he is just guessing. I
I
mean,
am,
Midnight Suns
yeah.
is probably a yeah. He is almost
He
certainly
is
in Midnight
Midnight
Suns.
Suns. They
If
Yeah.
did
you
confirm.
can believe the liars who write the panels to play,
Yeah,
Yes.
he is confirmed in
who
Midnight Suns.
who have
However,
lied to us before.
they have him in Convocation would be amazing. I would like to just throw that
He
out there.
he kind of has wizard vibes. May be Convocation. I'm not too strong on that one. So and I think even if he's not Convocation, he may make Convocation list. I also think he's a really good splash elsewhere, and I also think he's an A plus. Like he's worth playing just about everywhere.
Yeah. I love this character. This is a great model, and he doesn't feel like he's gonna.
He's not
He's a three threat.
he's not broken. He's not gonna ruin
No, he's not
games,
broken.
but he is
He's just
good.
good. Yeah, you're gonna feel like you get a lot of work out of him, out of every game. I think. Okay, so that was Encantu the Living Mummy. Brad, do you have any comic books that feature this guy?
I sure do. I have two for you today. So, unfortunately, this first one not on Marvel Unlimited. It's Supernatural Thrillers 5 through 15. And after a couple issues, this starts being called on the cover Supernatural Thrillers in little text featuring the living mummy in huge text. uh, it was a big seller for this comic. But Steve Gerber and Rich Buckler worked on at least the first appearance of him. And this is the origin of him. So if you remember from the trivia 2 weeks ago, I think that was 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was last week.
I think so.
Whatever. Where I was talking about like his origin and how he like ended up in the modern times. This is that story. And it's gonna be the only time he stars in a comic as like the main character.
Okay. Okay. He's not really like a star of a comic, but
No,
very often
no, no,
otherwise.
no, no. He's usually part of a cast of
Is this when he is attacking Cairo?
yes when he first wakes
Okay.
up.
Okay.
I think that's issue 5, his first appearance. That happens. Then the second recommendation I have for today, because this is with these this monster release and then a future uh release that's coming, it gets muddied about who I'm gonna talk. Like I had one that I was gonna talk about, but I'm like, no, that's better to talk with this other character. And then I had another one. I'm like, well, that's actually better to talk with this other character. It gets hard to separate which one I'm gonna do for what character because they tend to be in groups together. Uh, but this is called Legion of Monsters. It's from 2011. It's 4 issues. It's by Dennis Hopeless Hallam and Wando, which I feel like is a pseudonym. Like that's not this person's real
Wando.
name. There's no way that their name is Wando. So there's a monster that's killing innocents, and Elsa Bloodstone thinks it's the monsters living in Monster Metropolis below New York. So she goes down there to kill them all, and they're innocent. So she teams up with Encanto, Werewolf by Night, Morbius the Living Vampire, and Manphibian.
Amphibian?
Yes, he's the Loch Ness monster.
Oh.
That's what he is. Uh,
Okay.
I love that you did know who Morbius was.
Yeah, there was a movie, right?
Yeah,
He's seen the hit blockbuster Fox film
you know
Morbius.
that movie isn't that bad. It's not a good movie, but it's
I
not
enjoyed
that
it.
bad.
Sure.
Uh,
They are
I'll
two
take your
very
word
good
for it.
actors in that movie.
Oh boy, what are the two very good actors?
There are actually maybe three really good actors in it. I'm trying to remember exactly who else in that movie.
Jared Leto is the main guy.
Yes, Jared Leto, and Jared Leto is a very good actor.
He is a very good actor.
he
He has
is
a lot of
Outside
personal
the
of
problems.
worst Joker ever.
He was the worst Joker ever. I
that,
agree.
that is not his fault.
It's partially his fault.
That is
It
absolutely
is
his
partially
fault.
his
Yeah.
fault. Yeah.
I don't think anyone makes that written Joker well.
I think you're probably right, but he didn't help it at all.
No.
And then Matt Smith is in the movie.
Oh, Matt
Oh
Smith is a
yeah,
great
he
actor.
is in that
He
movie,
is a good actor.
and he is really good in that movie.
He is the best person. He is the best like character in the movie.
He is so good in that movie. All right.
There are other good actors that have appearances, but for the most part, those are the like best two actors in the movie.
Okay.
I don't even remember who plays the love interest.
Adria Ariana.
Yeah, that doesn't help. All right. Anyway, Elsa and these monsters team up to go after the real bad guy, which I'm not going to
Okay.
spoil. And it's not because I couldn't find out who it was. It's because I
Oh,
want that mystery to be there.
okay. All right.
Yeah, we all believe you. It's fine.
All right. Thank you, Brad. Hey, Brandon, where do you think that Unkantu the Living Mummy would really shine outside of his affiliations?
Anywhere.
Criminal Syndicate.
I mean,
Oh my
yeah.
god, of course.
I mean, yeah. I
It's
agree.
he's amazing under honestly any of the leaderships in Criminal Syndicate, including like Modoc,
What
especially
about
Modoc.
what about
Especially Modoc.
Claw?
He can make wilds happen.
Yeah, fuck Claw. We
Claw
don't we
doesn't count.
don't we don't count him for anything. No, I think he's gonna be pretty good anywhere. The you probably don't play him like he's probably never a splash in like Steve One Avengers. That's probably the worst place for him.
That would be pretty
Uh,
bad.
he's pretty good in Steve 3. He's actually really good in Steve 3. Um, because he can just get wild and make his triggers and
Yep.
still count soul tokens and just get a ton of like he can turn like a 3 die attack that has a skull in it into like 5, which is really good, and spend 1 total power to do that. Um, and he brings a mystic attack and good defenses, damage reduction. Like he's survivable. He fits really well with Steve 3. Um, but Modoc and Kingpin, he fits really well. Um, like the only thing is like a lot of the times it's like with splash characters, it's like what characters would be really good if they have additional power. Character doesn't need power for anything, which is really good. So like he's a really good attrition piece. Like I think he's someone you would always play in like Dormammu, like Thralls of Dracula. I think he's going to see a lot of play in Hellfire Club.
Now,
Um,
Dormammu, you got to be careful because he doesn't have a way of bleeding off his power.
That's true.
yeah, he might just die, but like you can bring it. It's mostly I think you bring him in with the tactics card for Dormammu.
Now you
Okay,
have to
okay.
with Dormammu, they have to start on the field, and you bring him back. It's someone
What?
who it's Dormammu, the card that you're
I think
thinking of, brings back a KO'd model.
does it really?
Yes.
I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
thought it just brought in a 3.
No.
I mean, well,
It's
the
not like
power if
Dormammu
the
is very high in the meta right now. Nobody's playing
yeah
him.
if the I have a Dormammu list right here.
Okay,
If you
bring it to the next tournament, please.
I almost played it yesterday. It has 7 banned cards and 1 restricted card. So yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Um, yeah, so I think he plays really well in like all those affiliations that can bring like anybody and are gonna play a little bit of attrition-y. Um, he's got survivability. He's got good like being able to have that range 4 mystic attack is gonna help him be on the attrition side because he can hit weaknesses. Like he just kind of eats Rhino's lunch like accidentally
Yeah.
because Rhino's not gonna hit him back very hard.
No.
And then he can just so it's like 5 versus 4 with damage reduction, and then 6 versus 2
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
with
Yep.
damage reduction, and so and then like one can just heal. Like it's just not a fun fight for Rhino. So I
Well,
think
Rhino doesn't
there's
stick around with that fight. Rhino doesn't do
no.
this.
Yeah, I think he's really good in Convocation too. If he's not affiliated there, I think he'll see some play there. But like if he's in Shield, like I think he's. It's really kind of unfortunate because I think he just immediately replaces like Black Panther, Chosen of Bast if he's in Shield, and that model feels good too. But it gives a lot of variety to Shield and gives them a lot of different play that they didn't have before. But yeah, I think the best places are going to be anywhere that wants to play kind of like control attrition.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably going to see a lot of splash. All right. Well, the only thing that's left is
I
my
don't
non sequitur
hold on.
recommend.
I don't
Oh,
think it'll be as much as you think, Fred, because you do have to buy a box with 3 other models.
yeah. Okay, that's
It's
true.
a relatively cheap
Dude,
box.
it's $65, and 3 of those models are really good.
All of
I would
those
say that 4 of
models are
them are
good.
very good.
All of them are good. 3 of them are very good.
Yes.
I am coming around on the other one. I'm
I
not
think
super
he's good.
sold.
You
I
did,
I
Brandon. You did leave without that printed card the other day.
did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I left without a model too, so like I
Yeah.
don't know how I should have been held responsible for anything that day. I am going to try him. He is in my. I have put him in the list. We're gonna give him a whirl. I really want to play a game at 18 threat with Dracula, Werewolf by Night, Blade, and Venom. That's what I want to do.
I don't want to play against that. That sounds awful. That sounds like a slog.
What I want to do. I want to play it. I want to live that life. Um, so I don't. I think I was a little hard on him originally. I still don't think he's great because I do think he's going to be really hard to play because there's going to be a lot of other fives that the fives are very very good, and it's going to be hard to really splash a five, especially getting Mephisto and Abomination and Dracula and him like, and we already had pretty good fives. It was hard to like splash fives. So like
Yeah.
it's just like he might end up just getting lost in the sauce. But I
I
think
mean,
he's
that's
fine.
fair. That's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah. So, but he's good. So I think he does enough. I am worried about his power
It's not
economy.
it's hold on. This is not his episode. Let's move on. We're almost done with this one. We'll cover this next week.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Fun fact
we're gonna have a special
in
guest for the Werewolf by Night episode.
Yes, we will have a special guest coming
here's
up.
another fun fact: Encantu just destroys Werewolf by Night.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right.
He eats him for dinner.
All right. Well, let's move on to my non sequitur recommendation. This one's easy. Uh uh this one is the 1999 movie The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser. This movie holds up a lot better than I thought it did. Like, it's a lot more
Oh,
fun. This is a fun movie.
Wait,
the
I
Mummy's
spaced
great.
out. What was the movie?
It's The Mummy with Brendan Fraser.
Oh, all those movies are good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like an attempt to do an Indiana Jones like a swashbuckling heroic archaeologist goes and finds supernatural evil in the desert, and it's fun. It's fun. This works. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun to watch. Um, but yeah, that's it. That is it for our episode here on Encanto the Living Mummy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. And thank you, Brad and Brandon, for being here on the podcast to talk about this guy. I hope that everyone out there has a wonderful rest of the week. Goodbye, everyone.